Hey guys! So I had asked my friends and family what kind of concerns or questions they would have if they were to go vegan, and for the most part it came down to cost, accessibility of vegan foods, and eating out. And today I'm going to cover the cost of eating vegan and if it really is expensive as people think it is. So is eating vegan expensive? The answer is yes and no. I say yes and no because it's really just your perspective on how you want to spend your money. It's the same thing as if you were to eat out. It can either be expensive if you go to fine dining, or it can be really cheap if you go to McDonald's. Generally though, eating vegan is not expensive at all. A lot of vegans I find base their diets off of things like beans and rice, which are some of the cheaper foods that you'll find in the grocery store. Meats, especially today, are super expensive, even though they're subsidized by the government, which basically means that the government pays for all the production fees and all that stuff, so it is more affordable for everyone. If we were to actually pay the true cost of meat, no one would actually end up buying the meat because it'd be so expensive. Also, if you look at it in the way of healthcare costs, it reduces the cost for medication, for surgeries, for visiting doctors, all that stuff. Especially in the US, it can get super expensive for just medication for diabetes and cholesterol. And so those costs would be cut down dramatically by eating a vegan diet. I also find that this way of eating is cheaper just because you end up eating less for what you're paying. So because you're filling up on starches and fruits and vegetables and carbs, you tend to eat less because they're more satisfying. And so your groceries tend to last longer throughout the week or however long you're buying your groceries for. So I find that when people are becoming vegan, they don't know what to get, they don't know what to buy, and they don't know what to eat. And so they'll kind of sway more to things that are more familiar to their diet. So they'll buy the fake meats, the vegan junk food like the vegan chips and vegan cookies and all that stuff, which is definitely not healthy at all, and it's not necessary. Those are the ones that are going to be expensive. Normally when it's actually labeled vegan on the product, it's going to be more expensive. And that's because you're paying for the packaging and the marketing and all of that stuff. And so when you buy vegan cheeses and vegan meats, those stuff can get very costly. And like I said, it's not necessary to buy those things or even eat those things when you become vegan. People have this notion that when you become vegan, you have to buy organic because you're eating so much fruits and vegetables. And I agree with that to some extent. I think that you should only buy organic when it matters. That way you can cut some of your costs and you don't always have to splurge on the organic foods. So if you take a look at the Dirty Dozen, you'll see a list of 12 foods that tend to be more contaminated with pesticides, and usually it's fruits and vegetables that have a thinner skin to them. So grapes or apples are some of the Dirty Dozens, and those are the foods that I would be more likely to buy organic, so you can avoid some of the pesticides that will be leached into the food. And then there's also a list called the Clean 15, and it's a list of 15 foods that are more safer to consume non-organic, just because they tend to not use as much pesticides and things like that on them. One huge thing that you can do to cut costs when becoming vegan is growing your own herbs and fruits and vegetables. And that is going to be a huge money-saving tip to do. Herbs can get very expensive, and so growing it yourself cuts down a lot on the cost. And it's super easy to do too. You don't need much space. You can do it in a little pot and keep it on your windowsill, and those things will last for as long as you tend to them. So all in all, eating vegan is really up to how you look at it. Whether or not you want to buy all the vegan cheeses and all the mock meats and things like that, which, like I said, is not necessary. You don't need to be eating those things, and you can save a lot of money by not eating them too. But if you base your diet off of whole grains and rice and beans and things like that, you can save so much money, especially buying those in bulk. If you look at meats versus beans, pound for pound price comparison, it's not even a competition. It's so much more cheaper to buy beans than it is to buy meat. So in my family, we have 2 vegans, but technically 2.5, because my older daughter, who's 3, she eats partially vegan, and that's just because, you know, family sometimes makes food and she wants to eat it, and I don't want to completely restrict her in that way and be, you know, it's a whole different story to talk about. But so 2.5 people in my family that we have to provide food on this vegan diet, and we're still buying formula and diapers for my youngest daughter, who's 6 months. And so if we take all that cost, the baby stuff cost out, we're spending about $100 to $130 a week on 2.5 people, and I think that's pretty good. We're trying to cut it down to less than 100 right now, and I'll let you guys know how it goes. We're gonna do it sometime next week, and I'll keep the receipts and keep you updated and let you know how it goes, if we met our budget or not. But for the most part, it really is actually cheap. I think for 2.5 people, $130 worth of groceries, of fresh fruits and vegetables and things like that, is pretty cheap. We do buy, like, I do buy some extra stuff, like just to make, you know, recipes and things like that, and so I kind of have to take that into consideration, so that kind of ups our grocery bill a bit in that way. But I definitely think that it's affordable. I think maybe people are just saying it's expensive because they just want to find another excuse to not eat this way, because in reality there is no excuse for you to not eat this way, health-wise or ethical reasons or anything like that. It's a great way to live, it's a great way to eat, it's a great way to treat your body. So in conclusion, eating vegan is not expensive. It's how you make it. You can buy vegan cheeses and mock meats, and those things are what's going to make it expensive. But if you stick to like starches and rice and things like that, it's going to be super cheap. You can buy those in bulk too, and it helps cut down the cost. So that's just a quick video touching on that one subject. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you can take something away from anything that I mentioned. You can check out my other videos. I have a what to eat and what not to eat on the starch solution, and you can check out some recipe videos and things like that, just to get an idea of what I eat and how cheap, quick, and easy the meals can actually be. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.